welcome to Ping Pong Critics Review of Legend of Korra Book 4, Episode 2, Korra Alone. I'm Daniel.
I'm Nick.
And thanks for joining us. Before anything, spoilers for everything up until this point. Alright. Now we're going to go through the episode chronologically. This week we got a big episode. I mean, still 22 minutes, but...
A lot happened.
That's right, a lot happens. Alright, so we start off with the mirror scene. Or rather, the introduction. After the introduction, we get the mirror scene where Korra, the camera pans out from the mirror that's shattered, and we get to see Korra's beat up face. Is there any significance that you found through that scene?
I mean, I think it's a moment for the character. She's looking at herself, and she's kind of thinking, I'm a terrible person. What the fuck am I doing? I think that's one way of interpreting it, but I don't think it's of any particular significance.
Well, alright, I've noticed this, and I'm pretty proud that I didn't notice this. But you saw how she was punching one eye, and it was swollen, and she was squinting a little bit. And then because of the diffraction of the mirror, she looked like Zuko. She was squinting one eye, and it was red on the other side. Her eye was fine. Yeah, go back and...
I can see that.
And I just thought that's kind of interesting, because this episode, even in its title, is a homage to the original show and the episode Zuko Alone.
Yeah. Which
was a great episode, too.
Yeah.
Immediately into the action, we see Spirit Korra, or I think it's a spirit.
Okay, let's just share ideas on what it is now.
Sure.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Which is the best idea. So remember how at the end of season 2, Rava or Vatu or whatever, one of them says, if you destroy one of us, then the other one will grow inside of the other slowly.
That's right. That's a great point.
So what I'm thinking is that this is Vatu, and that makes even more sense since asshole McFartpants from season 2 was in league with these guys, and they made the poison. So that could have accelerated the growth of Vatu inside of Korra.
That's right. That makes sense. Absolutely. Or at least on some spiritual level. Because we do see that to just everyday people, they couldn't see Spirit Korra.
Yeah.
But the spirit was able to see it. So there's definitely something there. And we do get to see that the Spirit Korra has the titanium chain around her hand. So it's definitely from that moment, right? So she's...
What do you mean from that moment?
Moment being the finale of...
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, after that little confrontation there, people are like, hey, Korra, do you need any help? And she's like, oh, I'm fine. And she walks away.
Going insane slowly.
Well, at first, that's really what you think, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And then we go into a flashback. Now, before I detail this flashback, this entire episode is just jumping back and forth. And I cannot remember another episode that's like this. Like, in the entire Avatar...
the Storm.
The Storm being...
The one where Aang and Zuko share their pasts.
Right. Yeah, but that was still, there was a present-day timeline, and then there was a past timeline. But this one was literally jumping back and forth and, skipping time around. Yeah. And I'm just genuinely amazed that Nickelodeon let the creators air this episode. Or release it digitally. Because... I can imagine how difficult this might be how difficult to follow this episode might be for a younger kid.
Well, younger kids aren't watching The Legend of Korra at this point. Like, they might have been, but season 3 is just like, what's happening? What's happening?
And then digital, yeah. Well, that's a discussion for some other time. Alright, anyways, back to the flashback. We get to see Korra being broken. Parents like, oh, we try to give you some more space. And then she's like, agreed to see Katara. And we finally get some character from Katara rather than just, it's your generation now.
It's still not very much character. It makes sense for Katara to be kind of like a stereotypical old person because her character, while she definitely had one, wasn't as defined as other people's. So it makes sense for her to change her personality a lot as she grows older.
And I feel that as a mentor character in Korra's life, she will be a great contrast to Toph. Which will... Yeah. Anyways. And it's... Oh, yes, that's right. There's a moment between like, she's trying to recuperate where she gets letters from all her friends that are in Republic City. And they've moved on with their life, and interesting things are happening. But she's still left broken in the Southern Water Tribe. And then there's that moment where she got really frustrated and then, there was a back and forth, where there wasn't a back and forth, but there was a... Well, I have a quote here, and she said, "I'm tired, Katara. I'm so tired."
Oh, yeah.
I just feel that that's really, just, I'm so tired. The way she put that, it's just like, she has nothing left in her to fight.
Except she does, because after
well,
that,
yes.
she's Katara inspiration speech.
That's
which
right.
was pretty great.
Yeah, that's right. I think so, absolutely.
And I think it's a great way to show that Katara has a really good insight into the Avatar. Because,
Relationship with Aang, that's right. And once again, I have another quote here, and it's Korra saying after that conversation, "What am I going to find if I get through this?" And then Katara responds, "I don't know, but wouldn't it be interesting to find out?" And you know what? Who do we find at the end of the episode?
Oh.
Yeah, see, that's where that, or I'm guessing that's where that discussion was leading to.
Okay, that makes sense.
Alright, now this is one of the biggest moments in the episode for me, which is finally she's recuperating, and then there's that scene where she's trying to walk to Naga, and then, the music swells, and then she takes a few steps, and then she stumbles, and then she picks herself back up, and then music just goes all out. I love it when that happens. And then she hugs Naga because she makes it. It's just a sweet moment.
It was an alright moment.
Yeah.
I didn't have any particular enjoyment out of that moment, but I can see.
Yeah, I thought it was a good moment. Especially this part of the episode is sort of dedicated to her physically getting herself better. But as we see later on, mentally she's still very broken.
Yeah.
Alright, cut back to present day. Korra sees the puppy dog thing, and then they see Spirit Korra again.
I really like this scene because you just think, Korra, something's wrong with you. You're going insane. And then the dog sees it too, and then you're just like, oh shit.
I knew dogs could see spirits. Yeah. And I just like that, just genuinely, or generally, whenever Spirit Korra shows up, there's just this sinister, atmosphere. Then the music, becomes eerie, and then it zooms in on her, the Spirit Korra, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, and the way she stands is just so creepy.
That's right. And the fact that she doesn't have a pupil, she's just, Avatar state. It's such a just sinister force, and you feel it, and I would be terrified, and Korra's terrified. So, in terms of that, they really hit the mark with the atmosphere there. All right. Now, there's another flashback, and this is when Tenzin visits.
Yes.
And we get that hilarious moment with Tenzin. He was saying something along like, not worry about the future rather than be patient.
Yeah, that was a nice moment.
This entire episode, though, in general, was pretty dark.
Yeah, but it knew when to put humor in, which I liked.
Yeah.
Like with Bolin's letters.
Yeah, Bolin's a great writer.
Yeah.
Or pen pal, excuse me.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, I miss you already.
That's right. That's right. There's this Korrasami moment where she writes a letter to Sami.
That was nice. It's kind of out of the blue, like, I got that, in the past seasons, I got that they were trying to put these two as closer friends than with the other people, and then, but it never quite showed up until here, where it's very clear, and it makes a lot of sense, and it's a great moment. As she's writing, we also get to peer into her mind, Korra's, and know what's up.
That's right.
Cool stuff.
And there's another thing that Korra says in response to, I hear it's still a mess out there. And then Tenzin's like, oh, Kuvira has everything under control. And then she's like, that should be me out there fixing things, not Kuvira. And it's just kind of interesting, especially being able to see how the Earth Nation is coming together with Kuvira. Alright, so this is definitely, without a doubt, the best moment of the entire episode. And that's, she leaves the Southern Water Tribe, and then she goes on her little trip. And then she goes to, I guess, like a small town next to the ocean. And then we have the Wall of Avatars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get to see Aang, I guess, airbend sushi rolls.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I'm just glad to see that Aang retained his sense of humor or character as he got older. We didn't really get to see a lot of him after he got older.
After he died for the second time.
We don't mention that. Alright. I just thought that was a nice way to go back.
It was a cool moment.
And subsequently after that, we get to see her go after the 2 thieves.
Yeah.
And then just get completely destroyed by herself. You know, she was earthbending that piece of rock, but then hit herself in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, are you sure she's the Avatar? And just, you know, it's just another subtle moment, but I feel I could just relate to how she's feeling. Like, perhaps just being the Avatar is such a responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another just standout moment. This entire episode is full of standout moments.
I'm just gonna say this for me because I love this moment where she's sailing,
That's right.
sailing across, and then this specter of Avatar Korra is haunting her. It's so great because you see what she's afraid of in that moment.
That's right. Yeah, and just what you were saying, just a specific moment is when she was heading into Republic City, right? And then she's like, you know, we see Republic City and Air Nation Island in the background, and we get closer. And then Spirit Korra is standing on a peak just looking, and then Korra's like, she's a little taken back, and then quite literally turns her head, or turns away from friends and family.
Because of fear.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes back to the theme of Korra alone, right?
Yeah.
It's really just her by herself trying to figure this out.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, it's genuinely a good moment there. Oh, and then she gets her haircut, and I saw a post somewhere that said haircut equals character development. So yeah, there you go. All the filmmakers out there, free tip from Daniel: haircut equals character development. All right, so now she goes on that hike through the snowy place, and once again we get to see time progress. We get to see she go through different environments, and there's a narration of her saying, "Oh, I'm happy," or I'm fine in Republic City to her parents.
Yeah.
Right. And then she gets to the spirit world, and then she's meditating in the Tree of Time.
I really like that they went with that direction of her trying to figure out what's up by going to the tree time. And I almost wish that it had worked, and then she'd like just been terrified by her memories or something like that. It would have been cool. But the direction they went with was also cool.
That's right. Yeah, and we have that spirit moment where the spirit was just essentially saying that he couldn't feel Rava in her presence, but it's just kind of interesting how, like, she herself realizes that Rava is sort of like it disappeared inside of her. She can't go into the Avatar state, and so does the spirits. All right, so we see her travel the world, time progression, and then finally we cut back to where episode 1 left off, which is, you know, she's in I assume a Earth Nation.
Fight.
Yeah, Earth
Fight
Nation.
club.
Yeah, a fight club, an underground fight club, and then we get to see it from her perspective.
And and it keeps with this theme of Avatar Korra, Spirit Korra, whatever, just being almost terrifying, especially to Korra.
Yes, that's right. And you just physically too, you can see that Korra is just not prepared to face whatever this is, right?
Yeah.
Whatever spirit this is. She gets completely destroyed in that match.
So we go to the swamp, and at the swamp, well, I believe both of us were really excited to be at the swamp again, because the swamp, it wasn't the best episode, but its ideas were really good. So going to the swamp again is a great opportunity to have these ideas here again.
I think it's the same swamp, right? Has to be.
Why wouldn't it be?
Because, you know, there can be more than one swamp in the world.
No.
Okay, I'm
You're
sorry.
ridiculous.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm known for unorthodox ideas, like more than one swamp in the world.
Stupid.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Like you said, the spirit leads her to the swamp, and then we get that conversation, Korra asking, what am I going to find in the swamp? And the spirit's answer is very stylistically, not a what, a who. Yeah, and in that moment you're like, oh, all right.
It's tough.
Yeah, it has to be,
tough.
right? It has to be. But then we have that confrontation with Spirit Korra again, and this is like the final big action moment.
And then turns into the poison, I think that was a cool effect.
Absolutely. The liquid metal, right? Or not liquid metal, excuse me, the poison. That's right.
Metal poison.
The metal poison. That's right. But just that entire action scene, it was very clean, it was very fast. There was some creative usages, like Spirit Korra like doing the kick with the fire, and then Korra like jumping away with airbending.
And firebending, in the first 3 seasons of the show, it just felt nerfed to all hell.
Mhm.
But here we see a lot more of its power.
That's right. Yeah, and it's great because you really get these it goes back to the thing like she was saying, hey, you know what? This spirit Korra thing isn't real. It's in my mind. But then it physically does damage to her, so you're like, what is this thing, right?
Yeah.
What is actually happening here? And hopefully that will be resolved in a future episode.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll see that soon. Alright, and next thing you know, she wakes up in, I guess in a tree or something, and then there was the confrontation with Toph.
Toph, it's really too early to tell because you only said like 2 sentences, but I hope to God they don't just turn her into an old person. She really didn't show any particular personality in her 2 sentences.
I would disagree.
So it could go either way, but...
I
Because Toph had such a defined personality
Yeah.
that her turning into an old person would be like a punch in the face.
She has a real clear personality, and unlike Katara, it's not that difficult to make her Toph, because Toph is really she's really pronounced, right? But I would disagree that they didn't show her personality, because she does say, "Nice to see you again, Twinkle Toes."
Well, it's something that Toph could say, but it's nothing that screams, "Oh, that's Toph."
Why?
Not to mention, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it does.
First off, sure it's the same soul, but they're 2 completely different people. And second off, the insult to Aang, based on Twinkle Toes, was that he doesn't like to stay on the ground. He doesn't stand his ground. So that's the exact opposite of what Korra does.
Yeah, but still though, it's Toph. It's what Toph would say under those circumstances. All right. Give me something that Toph would say in turn of that.
I can't.
Exactly.
I'm not that good of a writer.
Yeah. With what they had, which was 2 sentences.
Yes, I can agree. I'm not saying that it said it wasn't Toph. I'm just saying that we can't tell if they're going to write her as Toph or write her as an old person. From
How
those
about
2
Toph's appearance, her looks?
Yeah, she looks like Toph. It was good.
That's right. Yeah, I think they definitely, in terms of art direction, and even voice actor, found the right combination there. Definitely looks like and feels like an older Toph. Alright, and just to summarize specific episode elements, I just want to once again say amazing voice actors just all around, whether that be the supporting characters, Tenzin or Katara or Toph, but most importantly, Korra. Korra was absolutely spectacular in this episode, and voice acting is something that it gets to a level where if it's right, if it's the right voice, if it's well done, you just don't notice it. It's as if it's the character. But just in general, whether that be when she's fighting or when she's talking to herself, I just thought that the voice actor did an absolutely fantastic job.
And one of the things I didn't mention before, but when she says, "Is that all you got?" when she's fighting Illusion Avatar Korra or Real Avatar Korra, I don't know, in the fight ring, it takes on a completely different meaning from what it did in episode 1 when we saw that scene.
Yeah, and the fact that they played around with perspectives like that, I just thought that was a really smart way of doing it.
Yeah. So, one thing I really hope that they do for the future is that they mix the enemies of Kuvira and Avatar Korra so that they're kind of switching. Because one way of looking at it is that Korra doesn't need to be the Avatar. Just someone with power can be the Avatar. And that's what Avatar Korra is. And that's also what Kuvira is.
Yeah. Like, Kuvira is like the opposite version of Korra. If you like on the other side. I would love to see a confrontation between the 2 of them. I just thought it'd be very interesting.
Another thing I think this season is doing, like we talked about earlier, is that it's kind of doing what Iron Man did with the Marvel franchise, where it's saying, do we need an Avatar? Yes.
Yeah. And that's fine with me, as long as they do it well. Yeah. Iron Man 3. That was the film.
No, Iron Man. Just the first one.
Yeah, I know. I'm just referencing other franchises. Okay. So, now that we've gone through all the specific elements of the episode, pacing and balancing,
absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
everything.
Absolutely. Both of us were agreeing that we didn't see enough Korra in episode 1, but I feel like this really makes up for it.
Yeah.
Okay? And having only 13 episodes and 22 minutes per is...
They don't have season restrictions. They could go to 20 minutes season. 20 episode season.
I'm sure somewhere in the contract with Nick they have a specific restriction there, or clause, or whatever it is. Regardless, they have 13 episodes to work with, and just in general this episode, there was just so much...
Yeah.
There's just so much stuff that
Yeah.
were all absolutely excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they went through it. They went through it really well.
And one of the things that they should do, one of the things that they might do with the season, is that at the end of the season, Korra doesn't get her avatar powers back. She doesn't reconnect with Rava. She becomes a bender who is powerful and can bend 4 elements, but she doesn't need this power of Rava to be a powerful bender, like with just Toph or
Interesting.
Mako Bolin. They're all strong benders, and they don't have magic spirits.
Yeah, I didn't see it like that. I was more thinking along the lines that Toph would essentially complete her recuperation process. Like,
Yeah.
Katara was her physical recuperation, and Toph would be her mental. Even though it seems like Toph is the straight cut kind of mentor that you wouldn't want for spiritual and mental stuff. But who knows? I feel like connecting with Rava, at least to some extent, will be the completion of her healing process.
That's definitely one way the season could go, but it could go the other way, where you find that Korra doesn't need Rava to be the avatar, to be strong, to bring balance.
Yeah, either way it could be excellent.
Yeah.
I'm just genuinely interested to see the relationship between Toph and Korra.
Yeah. And I'm just imagining how annoying it's going to be if they go that route in the next episode where we're just like Toph and Korra training, talking, and it's so great. And oh Mako.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna do that. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Who knows? It'll be interesting.
Maybe we'll have 5 episodes where it's just Korra, Toph.
I doubt it.
Yeah, me too.
It's probably not gonna exceed an episode, just because of how the timetable is gonna stack up at the end.
Still, I hope we don't end up going between 3 or 4 stories, just 2.
In general, I feel like I want to see more of this future 3 years later world.
Yeah.
Right? We get to see throughout this episode some really good, like she goes to the Fire Nation at one point in time. I don't know if you realize that, but she was walking next to a volcano. I mean, I assume it's Fire Nation.
No, yeah.
It's just it's awesome to see that she's traveling the world by herself.
Yeah.
It's just quite a subtle thing that really works.
One of the things I always enjoyed about the original Avatar show is that Aang would always reference his experiences in other countries.
Yeah, that's right. And we never really got that with Korra because she stayed mostly in the water tribe.
Yeah, so I think it could be part of her growth over the show to become not a part of the Water Nation or of Republic City, but a part of the world.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Now we will score the episode out of 5. Just to recap, we rate movies out of 10, TV episodes out of 5, and TV series out of 100. Oh, and games too, out of 100. Nick?
4.5.
4.5.
No, 5. Just 5. 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Man, that's...
There is no way this episode could have been better. The only way that this episode could have been better is if the show was better. Not that the show's terrible, just some of the things you don't care as much because of the lack of context.
Yeah, but that's, like you said, not this episode's fault.
Yes.
Well, Nick, don't want to steal your thunder here, but I'm going to agree with you. 5 out of 5 from Daniel, too. Just in general, this episode, with the 22 minutes, it did everything I wanted it to do. And it did it superbly. It paced well, it was balanced well, we get to see some real character progression, whether that be physically, mentally, or just in general. We get to see characters we haven't seen in a while, and just in general, everything worked really well.
Yeah.
So 5 out of 5 from me, 5 out of 5 from Nick.
And one thing I want to mention was just this mystery was also something that was very good at pulling the episode along.
That's right.
What I want to close on.
Yeah. Is it Nick approved?
No, I gave it 5 out of 5, but I hated the episode actually.
Oh, you actually hated it. Oh, man.
It's Nick approved.
It's
lied
Nick
to you.
Oh, Nick, how could you? I am betrayed.
Right.
Well, regardless of that, it is Nick approved. However, before we end, I just want to really quickly, since we both gave it 5 out of 5, which is pretty impressive, is it the best episode of the series so far in Korra? That's a really interesting question.
No.
No.
I think the last 4 episodes of season 2 are some of the best episodes in the ever.
Those were pretty good.
They just kept ramping everything up.
Mm-hmm.
And that story with Juan was a great way of establishing the lore.
Yeah. You're right. I'm gonna have to go back and watch those episodes. I'm sure we'll review them at some point.
I'll probably just review the season as a whole.
Yeah. Maybe not. We'll have to get to it. But regardless, 5 out of 5 from both of us of Legend of Korra Book 4, Episode 2, Korra Alone. And it is also Nick approved. So thank you for joining us, and stay tuned.